council discussion and consideration of appointing 2 council members to the ad hoc committee for discussion related to the county property and sales tax agreement. Mr. Lopez?
So, Mayor, we included this item because we know that there are some discussions that have been happening preliminarily with the county related to a master sales tax and property tax sharing agreement. This action is requesting the appointment of an ad hoc committee made up of no more than 2 council members to take and report back to the rest of the council or really carry out the policy direction of the council related to this item, Mayor. So that is why this item is before you tonight.
Thank you. So this is something that was recommended and suggested to just to continue the process or pick up on the process and start those conversations again with the county. So questions, comments, council?
So Mr. Lopez has already stated that there have already been preliminary discussions. So appointing whomever, I'm assuming that there's already been discussion among council members prior to this coming to council. So if that can be shared, I mean, because this is.
Ms. Lopez?
Yeah, and just by way of background, I'll provide the foundation for this. The city has been without a master property tax sharing agreement for probably a couple decades now. And there is a desire to potentially annex properties into the city of Livingston. That cannot be done until a master property tax sharing agreement is developed. There was a discussion that was held, I believe, in May with the county CEO, Supervisor Espinoza, Mayor Pro Temp Garcia, and Mayor Moran, really to talk about if there was any sort of desire on the city's part to have discussions related to that master property tax, sales tax sharing agreement. We did believe that it was in the best interest for the council to formally weigh in and make an appointment of the ad hoc committee, whoever the council decides on that. So that's why this is being brought forward, so that the city is acting in a very transparent and proper manner with respect to the specific topic, council member.
So with that even being said, we already have 2 council members that have been in on this conversation. So the three of us are not even be considered and being appointed to this ad hoc, because we've already had people discussing it without transparency to the rest.
Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Go ahead.
Just for clarification, I don't believe discussion was about what should be settled or negotiated. It was more of, hey, folks, we need to start the process more than anything else. There was no discussion of what, just we need to move this forward. And at the request of the city manager, I did finally get a call back from the CEO of the county, and I let him know that we may be appointing an ad hoc committee tonight. And the comment was, when you guys appoint, let us know. We'll meet with your staff to get things lined up. So that's where it is at this point. So the CEO will be, if once we appoint, they will be contacting the staff so staff can get things coordinated.
Mayor, if I could, I want to dovetail to what Mayor Pro Tem said. Absolutely correct. There was no discussion about how anything would be coordinated. Absolutely no discussion about that. It was purely about, hey, is there interest in having a conversation? And that was the extent of the conversation. So there wasn't anything else besides that was discussed. That's really what the conversation was. And that's why this item is being brought forward, so that if there is more conversations, that it's done properly.
So I And that is the reason why this item is here. Otherwise, we wouldn't be having this item, and we'd just be going with the people that were previously assigned. And then obviously this is a new council, but it's those conversations were non-existent for a while. And one of the things that we've been working on is just to try and bring those back and start having those conversations with people at the county. And so hopefully that answer your question. Council, any other questions? Is there any other questions, Ms. Alda?
I just wanted to make sure that we were going through this process where we weren't violating any Brown Acts.
Thank you. Council, anything else?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. How long do these normally take? Are these months, years before these are?
I don't, if I may, I would be surprised if we get this done within a year, maybe a year and a half. A lot of it depends on where the discussion goes, what the county wants to take, what we're willing to give, and I can already anticipate some of the rough points we have to go through, probably, our fire money, amount of sales tax, which we don't know what they're going to demand or what we want to give, because we also have to make a decision based on, does it make sense for the city, because currently we don't have a revenue sharing, but the last revenue sharing we had, there was no give back on sales tax. That was back in 2014 that the county decided to just back out for, I don't want to go into reasons, we can speculate, but they canceled it out. Then there was an attempt made several years ago, and something was negotiated to some degree. County passed it, but it didn't pass at the city council level because at that time, the amount of sales tax that was being requested, I believe it was 5% of the 1%, then steps up to 7% of the 1%. It didn't pencil out, even though it came out, but it was voted in the negative by the council. So that's where we were at last time. So, however, until we do work on something for revenue sharing, tax sharing, whatever you want to call it, we have to start the process. Otherwise, we can do the general plan, but what's their general plan to do when we have no land to bring in? We can sit here and dream about moving forward, but you're not annexing anything without revenue sharing. Yeah, so.
Thank you for that.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
And if I remember correctly, I think the last conversation that the Livingston City Council had in regards to this item, you were still a mayor. So that's probably about 3 to 4 years ago.
Yes, that is correct.
So that was the last time there was any conversations being had at all. And I think it's we need to start working on it. The last time, I think it was over 2 years ago, myself and the previous mayor were appointed to pick up those conversations. I'm still waiting for those meetings. Over 2 years ago. So
it was interesting. The agreement we did have, that was before it was canceled, I was the mayor, and the one we almost came close to approving, I was still the mayor. So let's not have to do this in a 3-time on a mayor type thing. So let's try to get this, however we work out as a body, to figure out what we need to do and move forward. Because we do need to, because whatever decision we make as a body, once it's approved, general plans are moved forward and everything is done, you're not going to see any significant growth because it can take years just for the general plan to move forward. And then once the developers and folks realize we have extra land for them to request annexations and all that, it can be you're looking at 5 to 7 years almost. So we do need to move this forward as quickly as possible.
So yes, so having that said, and before I go out to public comment, I think it's important, because once again, if we don't have this, how can we grow? We don't have a general plan. But anyways, and this is something that I want to be part of. I think that being part of actually more than anything is not necessarily negotiations. I think it's more than anything just having those conversations, and being able to understand both sides. And I think when you call it negotiations, it's kind of like just a very negative term, But anyways, so
Sir,
yes.
if I may interject before you got to public comment, because I would love for them to weigh in. It sounds like there's going to be some really robust negotiations. And Mayor Pro Temp, thank you for the background. Really appreciate it. With that said, I would, if the council will have it, if those individuals will have it, I'd love to appoint Mayor and Mayor Pro Temp for this ad hoc committee. Thank you.
So at this time, I'd like to go out for public comment, and I'll bring it back to the dais. Is there any public comment on the phone in regards to this item? Bringing it back to the chamber. Any public comment in the chamber?
Diego Castillo, Livingston resident. Just wanted to give you guys a little bit of feedback. I'm a real estate developer, and hypothetically, if this was approved, let's say tomorrow, you'd probably still be 5 to 10 years before anything would happen. And right now, if you guys want to help the residents of Livingston with rental housing stock and single-family stock, you guys need to start acting on it now, because the cost of construction is not getting any cheaper. And like I said, this is 5 to 10 years out before you guys actually make an impact on the community. So by you guys moving now, I would say best case is 5 years before you guys actually see anything for the community. So that's it. Thank you.
Any other public comment in the chamber in regards to this item? Bringing it back to the dais.
Mr. Mon, did you make the motion for appointment?
If appropriate, I just wanted to get that in before we went out to public comments in case they wanted to weigh in on my choice. Thank you. But officially, I would like to make that a motion.
Okay.
I'll second it.
So we have a motion on the floor by Councilmember Mann, second by Councilmember Roth. Roll call, please.
Just want to clarify, so the mayor and the mayor pro temp were both appointed.
That is correct.
Roll call. Councilmember Roth?
Yes.
Councilmember Mann?
Yes.
Councilmember Soto?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Temp Samra?
Yes.
Mayor Moran?
Yes.
Motion approved by a vote of 5-0.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, before we go on the next item, just so we bring this out, these discussions and things can be quite complicated. I would also request at a future date, not right now, if the staff feels that we need some expertise beyond what we can provide at our staff level, that we bring this at a later date to help get staff some help folks that might be that know in and outs of the budgeting, not budgeting, but how the fire mitigation money and all this works, so we can get a good idea of what it will take and how we can counter our opinion or our feelings on what the county may say as far as their cost, because I do believe they do have to justify their cost. They can't just simply say we want 50% or 75%. They need to justify that's what it costs to provide those services. So at a later date, I would like to bring that back forward to see if we need any expert consultants here.
So is that part of your future agenda?
No,
item?
it's more of a feature item at some time, not necessarily right now.
Okay, thank you. So now I want to get to council direction on future agenda items.